Ian McCulloch, Richard Johnson, Ottaviano Dell'Acqua, Beatrice Rain, and Pierre Luigi Conti, also known as Al Cleaver. And that's all. No. Do each of you want to talk about your first memories of Lucio Fulci upon meeting him? Silence. Please describe your first impressions of the legendary Lucio Fulci upon meeting him.
Do you want me to do that?
You may, sure.
Well, I think people's first impressions of Lucio Fulci were very varied. Some people loved him, and lots of people, maybe not as many as loved him, lots of people were afraid of him. And he, because he was a very passionate man, he passionately loved the movies he made. He was determined to get from the movie, from his work, from the people who worked on the movie, the absolute best that they had to offer. Sometimes he could lose his wick, and he would shout and behave rather badly. But on the whole, he was, to me, completely charming, I must say. And I have a wonderful memory of him getting so angry, however, that he fell on the ground and started biting the earth. When he recovered himself, he said to the actor who had caused him to lose his wick in this extreme fashion, "If I don't bite the earth, I bite you." That was very, impression. Well, you get from the impression of Lucio Fulci a passionate spirit. I'm the same, I must say.
My first impression was I had a meeting with him in London. I'd flown up from Plymouth, which is in the southwest of England, and for various reasons I was 2.5 hours late. I'd already got the job, so it didn't really matter very much. But I didn't know anything about him. And in fact, until I started sort of going to these conventions last year, I didn't know what a great director he actually was. But when I first saw him, what disturbed and distressed me was that he looked exactly like Benny Hill. And if somebody looks like Benny Hill, it's very, very difficult to take them seriously. And this, throughout the film, was what I found was the problem with him. And Richard sort of dwelled on it. He was an awful bully. He used to pick on a weak person, usually a girl in the sort of company.
All girls.
And all girls. And sort of treat them rather sort of badly. But I think at the end of the day, he probably got the result that sort of behaviour was sort of looking for. And I don't think any of the people who were in any of his films actually come out of it either performing or looking to their sort of detriment. Whatever he did or whatever he said, he enhanced the way they looked and he enhanced the performance that they eventually produced.
I remember Fulci taking the breakfast in the morning. In Italy we take coffee, a croissant with some cream, just that. Lucio Fulci every morning take 1-2 croissants with the cream. After he had cream everywhere, like Santa Claus. He didn't care at all.
Yeah.
He went to work with the cream. he had the cigar. He never used ashtray.
Yeah, he was a mess.
The cigar he
Yeah.
took. Was it very? Was it? The makeup people had to work more with him than with the actors.
That's so funny you remember that. I just remember that's so true. He had, you could tell what he ate because his old t-shirt had every single thing he ate during the day. He was like a 2-year-old without a bib, and he loved to provoke people like that. He was he would sit in the chair with a cigarette and let the cigarette burn, and this very long piece of ash would just like start bending over, and people were waiting for him to just have the cigarette, and he would just drop it all over his clothes. And he looked at people with defiance, you know, like, I can do whatever I want because nobody's telling me anything else. And I mean, some people were absolutely charmed by him. Me being an actress and having worked as a woman, like he was referring to, I found he was quite abusive, verbally abusive, and it's really rough because when you're in the middle of a shoot and you're about to say a line, and behind the camera, the person, instead of saying, you know, they move dolly from person to person, and then it's your turn to say something, and then all of a sudden, instead of saying Beatrice, he'll say, you know, the dog. And I have to say my line, and I'm thinking, what the hell was that? And everybody else is laughing, and now they're behind the camera, so, but you have to keep a straight face and do the set, because eventually the film is incredibly expensive, and so if you screw up the scene, you are a bigger dog, because now you're wasting the production money. So there's really, it takes a lot of cold nerves to work with him. He was insulting, he was mean, he was cruel, he was a very intelligent man. I'm going to tell you the truth because everybody else is charming about him. I had a rough experience. It took me 22 years to forget about it. And everybody's asking me. This is really anti-therapeutical for me. But as long as I'm telling the truth, I feel good about it. So I will say, in any case, that he was an incredibly intelligent man. And unfortunately, Zombie 3 was a very rough experience for him. In fact, I think he told the press that there were other movies that he loved shooting, but Zombie 3 was probably one of his worst experiences. Mainly, he was incredibly sick. I don't know if you know all the details, but he had cirrhose hepatica, which is a liver disease, and his stomach was not a 9-month pregnant, but a 15-month pregnant stomach, which he enjoyed, had people touch. He was going, go ahead, you know, with his dirty t-shirt, and people would touch it, and he goes, you know, and he felt so hard, and eventually we had a mixture of feeling sorry for him and respecting him and hating him, I mean, in my case, because he made my work so much harder. And he would go once a week. He would travel from Los Baños, where the set of Zombie 3 was, and he would travel to Manila, and the roads were completely destroyed because it rained. It's tropical weather, so it rains incredibly. And the car bounces like this on the roads. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's a very rough ride. So he was in incredible pain. So Zombie 3 was a nightmare for him. And I have to say, Ottaviano here is he was kind of a hero for everybody because he was in charge of the stunts. And he kind of took over. He felt sorry for him without obviously advertising, but he was willing to do the extra to create a stunt scene, to give him support. He would even shoot the scene without having Fulvio around. So thank you for being such a really remarkable actor and a kind man. You know, I've known Ottaviano for years. He works really hard. So, and you guys are great. I'm really touched. This is my first time here. And thank you, Ken, for putting that together, and Mike Baronas. Mike Baronas, you're hiding, I can see you. Over there, this guy deserves a huge applause.
Mike Baronas of Power Up Productions. Mike, do you want to join the panel? And Mike.
Yeah, please come on out. He put together a DVD of interviews, and he travels to France, Italy, England, and he came to LA and San Diego to interview every possible person who ever worked with Lucio Fulci. I'm sorry, I don't mean to hog the mic, but it's, oh, thank you. Okay, so I just wanted to say that it's thanks to Max we're all here, and you guys can enjoy this. Come on out here and give us a little bit of what's going on with you and your work, and thank you, by the way.
Well, would you mind translating Al or Beatrice for Ottaviano to answer the first question in regards to his first impressions of Lucio Fulci?
No, io parlo te traduci. Allora, io non ti lo chiedo.
Così ti sentono per i microfoni.
Io con Fulci ho lavorato e nel mio settore non ho cominciato come attore con Fulci, facevo lo stuntman e quindi verso di me aveva un occhio di riguardo e mi chiamava il Jolly sul Zombie 2.
He started working with Lucio Fulci not as an actor but as a stuntman. So Lucio Fulci used to call him the Jolly